So we take it also from you, but I'm not going to hold you obviously as sort of a hostage to that there will be progress, or there should be progress in the next few years, sort of combating those barriers and those subsidies to agriculture that remain there, that affect the region, as well as most likely new frameworks that address the question of digital economy and digital trade, so that the countries in Latin America can play in a more level playing field. Let me ask two more questions that may or not be related. So a quick response on those. One has to do with intra-regional trade and the question of Latin American integration. One of the, I think, aspirations of more than 50 years, and one that now is, again, coming back to people's imagination as a way forward. Can we develop regional markets? Can we think about nearshoring? Can we do fragmentation of value chains, but also investment and operations of Latin American countries within the region, so that we grow the pie in the region for trade and not only at the global level? And then in that respect, is the WTO a threat, or is it an enabler? And how do we think about this? That's one of those trends. The other trend I want to mention is decarbonization. And I know that the two are very big and again, may be related or not. And then in the decarbonization agenda, well, there are, of course, those that are more advanced in carbon pricing, in addressing the question of climate change, and such as the Europeans or the Japanese, the Americans, and so on, and talk and the announcements of new trade instruments that may be used to foster decarbonization, including taxes at the border and the like. And so how do you see, again, the WTO supporting Latin American economies in this respect?
Again, I think two very important topics. Let me take the first one on regional integration and say that I think part of the WTO agenda can be very relevant to foster greater regional integration. Let's take the case of trade facilitation. We know that in Latin America, one of the most important obstacles to foster interregional trade is the high cost of exporting and importing in the region. Is it customs procedures? Is it coordination across border agencies? All of these elements make it unnecessarily more costly for a Latin American exporter to send their products to another country in the region. So the WTO has this trade facilitation agreement that aims precisely at streamlining the procedures at the border so that trade can flow securely, for sure, but in a more expedited way. And there is a whole sort of capacity building agenda that accompanies this agreement, which if Latin Americans continue to move forward with the implementation, with full implementation of the trade facilitation agreement, this is expected to have a very significant impact on regional integration, because again, it will make it easier to export products, from Chile to Peru, or from Costa Rica to Guatemala, or from Mexico to Colombia. So again, a very relevant move. Your second question is indeed a very big question, Ricardo. I would say probably that is one of the most important challenges that the world as such has in going forward. And the WTO, of course, can play a very important role. The WTO actually, and trade in general, can be a component of countries' strategies to decarbonize their economies. Now, there are important discussions taking place as to what are the right types of instruments to do that, and how does trade come into the equation. And then what I would expect to see is that there's already a trade and environment committee in the WTO. There's a lot of work that has been done in this area, and you know this very well, Ricardo. But there's also, I think, a lot of work that we will see in the WTO just started, for example, as to what is the role of the circular economy, for example, in particular, what to do about trading plastics, and should there be rules developed in that area or not. There were discussions some years ago that may come back to the agenda as to what is the role of liberalizing trade in environmental goods so as to foster green technologies across countries. So there are many different areas in which the WTO could play a role in supporting this broader objective of decarbonization and more broadly of sustainability. Actually, in a broader sense, one of the very important areas in which the WTO is working right now is trying to come up with an agreement to eliminate harmful subsidies to fisheries. Particularly the case of, we know that a lot of fisheries are stocks are overfished, and there's a real risk that if something is not done in this area, then very soon we will be in a very bad situation. So the WTO is trying to drive an agreement to limit the use of these harmful subsidies in the area. So this is again another example of how the WTO can be relevant to all of these global challenges that the countries in the world and in Latin America have by fostering cooperation and trying to address the negative spillovers of individual countries members in different areas.